Welcome to r/Reddit Revenge. This is a story of someone getting back at someone with revenge after being wronged. And today we have two great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story. Previous homeowner left furniture behind and wants to get it at their convenience. The second story. Scammer wanted to deceive us, but I came to her room with security. The first story. How OP gained a new 4K plus fridge. I just closed on a home in California 2 days ago on the 7th of June, so the home is legally ours. The previous owners whom we purchased the home from decided to go on vacation and left a handful of items behind. They left some worn patio furniture, bags of trash and other junk items, but also left a new refrigerator and a small TV. They didn't ask us if it would be okay to do so, and this very much exemplifies their communicative efforts throughout the whole purchasing ordeal. So we're beyond doing what's courteous. My agent informed me that they plan on sending someone to pick up the fridge sometime, that they were going to let themselves into my home and remove said items. I'm new to this whole process, but what legal standings do I have to dispose of their unwanted items, and to sell or donate the fridge and TV? Do I need to refer to the closing documents to see if they snuck in a line that allows them to come in and finish their move? If they're legally able to retrieve their fridge, can I legally make them take the rest of their trash too? Update 1. The original sellers were offering to sell us the fridge at one point, which we made an offer and they rejected. This is important because it shows that they're not willing to abandon the fridge. When we closed escrow, the house is ours, but the fridge is theirs. So we have someone else's item in our home, and the owner is aware and wants it back. At about 10 a.m., our agent contacted their agent saying that they need to get rid of all items by noon the next day or they forfeit the items. They agreed to those terms. Then by 6 p.m., they messaged us saying they've scheduled movers to pick up the items at 2 p.m., and they made that appointment without consulting our schedules first. We're both at work and it's out of their agreed upon time frame, and we extend no courtesy for those who refuse to reciprocate. Looks like we're getting a new fridge at the expense of getting rid of other junk. Update 2. Currently, I stayed at the house from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., and of course, no one showed up or contacted me. I made a video of the time and date of me leaving at about 12:05 p.m., documenting that I was there, no one came, so therefore the agreement was breached on their end. I double-checked her email to me and she said movers would be here after 2 p.m., which still violates the contract anyway, so it didn't matter too much, but I want to make sure I have my bases covered. I waited until now to post the update, currently 7:25 p.m. PST. I've yet to receive word from anyone that movers were coming to retrieve my belongings. So the TV and fridge, now named Fridge, is now in my possession. My agent is scheduling a junk company to remove said junk, and will be sending the other agent the invoice. My agent is also scheduling carpet cleaners and a repairman for services, and will also be sending the invoice to the other agent. The previous owners made absolutely no attempt to clean up, and it's very evident. At this point, the situation is legally done. Neither my agent or I will be responding to any calls, texts, or emails on this matter, and any interaction between us and them will only be what is mandatory if they try to proceed litigation. My lawyer friend says we got all our bases covered and we're fine and dandy. Update 2.1. For those who enjoy juicy bits and cake icing, through the entire duration of escrow, they were asking us if we want to buy the fridge. We did tell them that we have a pretty nice fridge already, which we do. We have a 10K built-in fridge we were going to use, and we didn't want to make an offer that could be conceived as insulting or disrespectful. When my agent first called me to inform me that we officially closed escrow, and we've officially been recorded, she also informed me that the fridge was still in the house. This was about 3 p.m. on Tuesday, the 8th. At this time, we made a final offer to buy the fridge for $2K, and we'll take care of the other junk and let that be the end of everything, so we can all move on. The next morning on the 9th at 8 a.m., the agent replied with a brief and blunt no. That's when we notified them that we want the fridge gone so we can move our own fridge in, and she agreed to have it removed by 12 p.m. the following day. For those just following along, she scheduled movers to come sometime after 2 p.m. the next day. Stupid, I know, and she would call me when they arrived so I can let them in. No one came, no one called, contract breached, I have my beloved fridge and she screwed the previous owners out of $2K. Update 3. So in our minds, this fridge ordeal was a done deal. At least it was legally. Come yesterday, June 12th, 4 days after we've closed, I got 3 calls. My wife got 2, and my real estate agent got 2 calls from the listing agent. We were each left with voicemails and I got the bonus of receiving 2 additional emails, one of which was addressed to me and the other to my wife, even though both went to the exact email account. Here's an example of the text I received. Please call me. Overs can come over today at 7 to pick up all the stuff. She sent that text at 6 p.m. and was begging for us to make ourselves available at 7 p.m. My real estate agent responded only to say that since we've closed, she no longer legally represents us and to please contact the homeowners. My wife and I have opted to not communicate with her in any way, unless we're legally required to do so. We were at the house at the time, so we did what any decent people would do in this situation, hurriedly rushed what we were doing, and left for dinner, as we wouldn't hold it past her to randomly show up to see if we were home before inviting movers over. So in my incredibly biased mind, she wouldn't be desperately begging for to chat with us in request for favors if she knew she had any legal standing to claim possession of my fridge. Why go through all this trouble when she can just go through litigation? We've yet to hear from her since she attempted to have many weeks' worth of conversation in 5 minutes yesterday evening. Final update. Update 4. After our last interaction with the listing agent, we're at a point now where the story will get either really exciting or boring. The listing agent emailed me again, 4 days after the last email that we ignored, telling me to call her ASAP, and they scheduled movers but haven't heard back from us. I'll CP the email exchange. Listing agent. Hi, Buttered Pineapple Bun's wife. Sent to my email and not wife's. Hope all is well. I've been trying to get a hold of you. Called you both several times. The seller needs to come and pick up his stuff. Please let me know ASAP. We had movers scheduled but no response from you guys. Please call me number ASAP. Me. Since the no-call, no-show last Thursday by 12 p.m., which was our agreed-upon time to remove the items, we took it upon ourselves and moved, disposed of, and donated the furniture and trash. Refer to your text with our agent if you need a refresher for the breached agreement. Listing agent. I'd called several times. Sellers had to arrange the mover accordingly. As we all know, the seller gave you guys an extension for more than a week without any charge. That was a breach of contract. I truly wanted to help you guys out and I did my best. Let me know how much was a tarsh and I can write you a check. Please advise when we can pick up the refrigerator. Thank you so much for your understanding. Me. We behaved according to our contract and you violated it with your inaction. You dropped the ball on this one. You do not have permission to contact me or wife, and any further pestering on this issue will lead to a cease and desist against you. Thank you so much for your understanding. So that's where we're at. We haven't heard back yet, and I don't think I will unless she chooses the path of litigation, which would be a losing battle for her. But I don't think she's quite aware of that at the time of the emails. It sounds like she's asking for favors, as she says the seller did us a favor by agreeing to an escrow extension, which is true. It took us 3 weeks to schedule an appraisal, and that's where the major delay was. Obviously, she's wrong when she accused us of breaching the contract, referring to the escrow extension, since we all played our parts according to the new agreement. She also fails to acknowledge what moved, disposed, donated means. She's also never addressed any of the issues I brought to her attention, and is highly selective on what she responds to. The second story is, hotel guest tries to commit fraud. P.S. DNR means do not rent. FOM is front office manager. I work at 200-ish room boutique hotel in a small, very wealthy town. We do not have a no locals policy. However, our DNR list is made up of mainly entitled locals who just don't know when to stop. I have a feeling this local coming in today might just be the newest addition to that list. The last time this guest was in, we will call her Sally, she brought her mother and had a pretty good time. This was just before New Year's. She did pull the Karen card a bit, but nothing too bad. She has a history of making complaints to get things for free. As she was checking out, she inquired about purchasing gift certificates so that her and her mother could partake in a little self-care throughout the year, and use the GCs to pay for everything. A total of $2,400 in GCs were purchased. In her mind, buying the GC right then was her way of holding herself to her New Year's resolution, of being a giant PETA. Fast forward a couple of days and accounting is emailing asking about the charge, because the bank called and said the owner of the card is claiming fraud. We provided signed receipts, however. Sally managed still to get her money back. She had also used the same card to sign up for a fitness membership to our gym. All is not lost for the hotel, since it was just the certificates and membership that she used the card for. So I decided to give her a call. When she didn't answer, I left her a message stating the GCs came back as fraudulent and were no longer valid. I also mentioned that the membership was also void. However, if she wanted to come in and provide a different card, we would be happy to honor it. At that point, I figured we would never see her again. She never returned my phone call, most likely out of embarrassment, so we just moved on. Now, just after a full moon, she's coming in, and my gut is telling me she's going to try and use those certificates. Maybe she thinks it's been long enough that we've forgotten. Sorry, Sally, I don't forget a $2,400 charge back. My plan is to confront her at check-in and play a little dumb. I might say something along the lines of someone tried to purchase fraudulent GCs in your name. I hope all of those got sorted out for you. What card would you like to use for incidentals? Update here. So I just happened to be at the desk when my dear friend Sally arrived, alone and without mom this time. I go through all the steps, welcome her back, and have a polite chat with her, while I also go over the details of her stay. All is going well and she's being quite pleasant. Now it's time for her to provide a card for incidentals. As she's placing her card into the reader, I take the opportunity to let her know that I know on a roundabout way of saying. Miss Fraudulent, I'm not sure if you recall, but I gave you a call a few months ago in regards to the gift certificates that you purchased during your last stay. The charge was reported to us as fraudulent, and we never received funds for those. Unfortunately for you, that means they're not valid. I never heard back from you, so I'm guessing you were able to sort it out with your bank? She froze, didn't say anything for a few seconds, and then just looked up at me and with a puzzled look and says, "Oh, I don't remember that. How strange. I suppose it was handled then." This is where I hand her ID back and her hand is straight up shaking. I've clearly rattled her and caught her off guard. She checks in and gets settled in her room. I leave the desk to the agents and think to myself, Reddit's not going to be happy. About an hour later, the FOM comes to talk to me in the back room. She tells me that not too long after I left the desk, Sally returned asking for a manager other than me. She then demands to be told exactly what we know, and the FOM gave it to her straight and called her a fraud in the nicest way possible. She did not appreciate our honesty. She starts to go on about how she's lived here for yada yada years, and is important within the community, how dare we, etc, etc. She's a middle school administrator. Then she went on to say the FOM was just as worthless as the husband she's divorcing, and is here to get away from. The FOM asked her to calm down or return to her room, and that would not tolerate her unnecessary outburst here in the lobby. She protested a bit more when we told her that if she did not calm down and keep a polite tone, we would call the authorities. She went back to her room. At this point, I'm thinking tasers just might happen, but perhaps it's over. I packed up and went home to throw back a few whiskeys. A little bit later, I'm told she goes to have dinner at the lobby bar. The FOM sees her and makes a point to just quickly inform the bartender to not accept any GCs from her, and to send her to the FD. Sally behaves herself and is enjoying the company of the random stranger next to her for a bit, then decides to call it a night. When she pays her bills, she does it. She tries to pay with a GC. This B, she argued a bit because of the inconvenience, but eventually goes back to her room. That's when I get all caught up. We did not ever get to see the GC ourselves, as she held on to it when the bartender refused it. However, I will follow up with her tomorrow to let her know she's not welcome back. Update 2. I had the pleasure of going to her room with security this morning to ask her to vacate the room and not come back. She got nasty quick, however, when I told her it was over for her, when she tried to pay with a GC after our discussion. We were willing to let it be after the chargeback, but she just had to push the boundary, and we could no longer put up with it. She called me every name in the book as she packed her SH. I just stood there and smiled. It felt great. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button.